For many years, they have said that Disney was making their money back. You'd see articles with headlines that read that Disney had already earned back all the money they had spent buying Lucasfilm. Star Wars was a success. And now they can say that no more because our investigative journalist, Jonas J Campbell, on behalf of Valiant Renegade, has released the actual numbers using government documents. It's a tour de force. Let's dive in and let's show you exactly how much Lucasfilm and Star Wars are costing Disney. Hint, it's bad. Star Wars lost big money, folks. If that's the thing that you need to take away from the video, there it is. We're going to talk about exactly how much in just a moment. Before we do, if you like content like this, consider clicking the like button, share, subscribe, and when you click it, you stick it to the algorithms. It's the notification bell. Get your comments ready. You're going to have some after this. Andrew, Caffeinated Wolf of the Rippaverse, joins us today to talk about it, as well as the lead investigator behind all of this information, Jonas J Campbell. Welcome to the show as well.
Well, thank you. Thank you for having me. Sometimes I like to talk about theme parks, though, and that's not much investigating. So,
true that. Andrew, welcome back.
Thank you. It's great to be back. Always enjoy being here on the show.
Absolutely. And Jonas, you were brought on by Valiant Renegade to do a bit of investigative journalism. That is your title over at That Park Place. And by the way, congratulations on the new channel, That Park Place on YouTube.
Hey, thanks.
But Valiant Renegade pulled you in to do some investigation. He had an idea of where some stuff could be found in terms of government documents. He put you on the task, and you came through with flying colors for the very first time ever that I have seen anywhere on the internet, period. I'm talking about trades, publications, blogs, YouTube channels, anywhere. We now know the actual numbers for just exactly how much Star Wars has cost Disney. It is a tour de force of investigative journalism, so thank you for that. Let's get into it now. So, Jonas, walk us through, and I guess I'll make us all disappear so folks can see this better. Walk us through what this is, and everybody out there, I highly recommend go check out Valiant Renegade's video originally on this. He released it earlier today. It is awesome. We're going in a bit of a different direction. Jonas, walk us through it.
Yeah, this is our breakdown of. I went through all the UK filings for the last 9 years, actually longer than 9 years, of everything that Lucasfilm has produced and every single filing that they have in the UK, and found all of their figures for how much they were actually spending in the UK.
Did this take more than 5 minutes, you would say?
Yeah, it did. As Valiant would describe it, because he loves a good sailing metaphor, he referred to it as the yeoman's work.
That's right. All right, so walk us through, Jonas. Now, in Valiant Renegade's video that he released today, he breaks this down as well. We're just going to do a cursory overview because, again, we're taking this in a bit of a different direction. But what are these weird things over there? We've got all kinds of crazy names on the left side of this spreadsheet that you have.
Yeah. Okay. So when an entity films in the UK, they'll, just like in the United States, they'll create a production entity. Well, over there, the reason that they might decide to do one of these entities in the UK is they can obtain film tax credits for all the work that was done in the UK. Now, it would be really nice for these film companies if all they had to do was say how much they spent over there in the UK. But in order to certify that at least 10% of their production was performed within the United Kingdom, they have to report on the entire production and how much the entire production costs. So they have to report the entire production cost for each of these films to the UK government, who makes all of these figures public through a website that is it's not the worst government website that I've ever had to go through, but I will say it's not anything that anyone would want to do on a leisurely Saturday, except for somebody like me.
Well, and let's say this too, Valiant Renegade took the time and the trouble of moving these numbers over so that they are adjusted for inflation and they are adjusted for the currency exchange at the time of the production. So that is a lot of work. Folks, we're not doing that here, but go check out his channel again.
Right.
However,
and I will point out that he and I had some, not disagreements, but some tweaks. This was a plug figure. This is all translated at today's USD to GBP rate, which it has not been that favorable to the dollar over the last few years. So Valiant's figures are more accurate and higher than mine.
So let's take a look at this. We've got Force Awakens, your original findings, $559 million. in terms of just production, only production, not marketing. Rogue One, $296 million. Last Jedi, $382 million. Solo, $347 million. And Rise of Skywalker, $529 million. If we were to add all of that together, Jonas, what kind of total do we get?
2 billion. You want USD or GBP?
We'll stick with USD right now.
$2.1 billion, which is low.
All right.
I think it's closer
folks,
to 2.38 in actuality.
We're going to explain why I don't need to get into the high resolution that Valiant does for this video and the purposes. You'll understand in just a moment. Now, Valiant, there's also this blacked out area at the bottom of the spreadsheet. That's because you also have the numbers for some of these streaming shows, and we are not yet making that public. That is being held for review by Valiant Renegade as he gets ready to do another expose on this on the streaming side of the live action shows. But I want to add some more numbers to this. And Andrew, I'm going to bring you in for this part of the conversation. Andrew, on top of this amount, we know that Lucasfilm was purchased by Disney for essentially $4 billion, right? So
Yeah,
let's put it now.
4 billion.
Total cost now at $6 billion. We'll drop the 0.1 so we can keep easy numbers. So there's $6 billion. We also know that Disney spent about $1 billion apiece on Galaxy Edge theme park expansions at Disney World and Disneyland. That gets us to $8 billion. And we know that they spent about $500 million on the Galactic Star Cruiser Hotel, which they've thrown away. That gets us to $8.5 billion. $8.5 billion in terms of the investment in just the movies, not the streaming alone, but just the movies and just the theme park expansions. That's it. $8.5 billion. Andrew, are you surprised at all about the insane amount of expenditures? Folks, I think it's fair to say that once we get all of the information out there, we're going to be in excess of $10 billion. Andrew, your thoughts?
I'm surprised, but simultaneously not surprised. And what I mean by that is Disney for a while now has had this immense problem of overspending on all their projects. We've seen it with when you go into greater detail on the Disney Plus side for the live action shows, we'll see more of it. But we know already, even just based on the numbers that we do have access to that have been made public, they're spending an exorbitant amount of money to fund these projects. And so the fact that they've spent upwards of possibly $10 billion on this franchise thus far does not shock me. On the other hand, what does shock me is that they haven't been able to make an actual on-net real return on this. They haven't made their money back. When you factor in the marketing for all of the projects like the movies, Force Awakens made over $2 billion. Great. That was the gross. You got to factor in the theater's cuts. You got to factor in all the marketing, all of that.
Right, which we haven't even done here. We haven't even included marketing. We'll get to $1 billion on marketing alone.
Ridiculous. How do you lose money on Star Wars?
You know what? I'm not cutting that slack. I'm not.
You do what Disney did.
I'm not cutting them the slack, Andrew. You're right. Well, let's add the marketing. It's $1 billion. That gets us to 9.5. You're right. I'm not doing that for them. So $9.5 billion when you add the marketing for these movies.
And it's important to factor all of those things in because a lot of the talk that you'll see on Twitter, a lot of the people that are defending how much money that, the MCU or that Disney Star Wars is making, it's not on net. And those people don't understand how the box office actually functions. Disney doesn't get all of that money. The theater gets part of that money. The typical box office, if you look on, say, Box Office Mojo or whatever, those aren't factoring in. Those numbers are not factoring in the marketing. And I think if we're having honest conversations about the financials of these projects and the state of the industry, you have to actually take into account what's going into the bank.
Okay. So think about that, Andrew. Think about that. In terms of the expenditures that they made for the box office part of this alone, folks, we're not even talking about the streaming yet. That's coming up in the next days. But the expenditures are something like double when you look at all of them combined. Something like double what was reported in many of the publications, the official publications that are supposed to give us the honest truth. They spend like double. So it's like you go to the doctor and the doctor says, how much do you weigh? And you say 200 pounds and you weigh 400. That's Lucasfilm. Lucasfilm, your scales are busted. So
no, their scales are fixed.
Yes, they are. Absolutely. It reads what they want it to say. Jonas, in terms of what Valiant had to say about the box office, he's looking at this and he's saying, well, they may have broken even at the box office, or perhaps even made a tiny amount of money once you consider the tax credits that the UK provides, once you consider, all of the different factors that go into this. However, what I'm interested in, and that's where we differentiate this video from his, what I'm interested in is how much has Lucasfilm profited Disney total, right? Because it's an entire package. When you look at that, 9.5 billion is what we estimate. And by the way, I mean, my gosh, look at what Jonas has done here. We've got actually the hard numbers. So when we say estimate, we're taking the actual real numbers and we're putting in, just a rough estimate as we total this out. But $9.5 billion in investment off box office and theme parks, plus the cost of Lucasfilm. How far are they away, Jonas, before we even get to streaming? Not even touching that. How far are they away from making a profit? And are they moving in the wrong direction? Are they actually losing ground?
Obviously, that is impossible to answer unless we had the actual figures. And we're talking the actual figures before they're adjusted in order to compensate in the most favorable way in order to report them. And I'm not implying that anyone's committing fraud here. But when these corporate filings are made, they are done in the most favorable way in order to reflect the company in the most favorable light. Every adjustment that they can ethically take, and maybe allegedly more so, they will take. So there is no way to really read the room here. Sorry, we can read the room, but we will never know the exact temperature. How about that?
Let me give you some rough numbers we've got. So it's around $10 billion of total box office gross for the movies, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's about 10 billion. All right. And that is, by the way, when you combine everything, including the anthology films. All right. Now, Disney gets half of that back thereabout, right? About half of that comes back to Disney after taxes are taken out, after they account for the theaters getting their cut. So they're $5 billion short there. They didn't make money back in terms of reaching the 9.5 billion they need, because they only made $5 billion back in total there. And then when you start saying, okay, what were the expenditures on the films? Like Valiant is saying, they barely broke even if they did it all. So this idea that they're paying back and they're paying off the amount of money they spent buying Lucasfilm it's a farce.
It's a ridiculous idea. And here's a cruel fact about the stock market right now. Most people who do day trading and investments in the stock market make about 4%. That is not as good as the market itself does. If you just invested in an index fund, generally you will outperform most stockbrokers. That is a hard fact.
But that's pretty reasonable, because if you look at how much people who are renting out properties, how much they're making, that's you're not far off the line there.
Right. So if they had just invested this much money in the bank and continued to make Star Wars toys that had no new investments in IP, they just did another Power of the Force collection or whatever, and kept just iterating on the same thing, or left the EU intact and continued to go in that direction, if they did nothing with it, they might have made more money.
Okay, so Andrew, let me break that down in more simple terms for the audience out there, and then I want your take on, could any other company possibly be run this way? What Jonas is saying, I believe in, Jonas, you correct me if I'm wrong. You're saying that had Disney bought everything, Lucasfilm, Star Wars, Indiana Jones, all of it, if they bought all of it, and if they had done absolutely nothing with it, nothing, that the money they would have made off of the old stuff probably would have put them in a better financial situation. That's how bad Kathleen Kennedy is as a manager and as a steward of Star Wars and Lucasfilm, that they have made all kinds of new things and they are worse for it. Andrew, could any company do this? Any other company, and face zero consequences?
No.
What about Rippaverse? You guys want to put stuff out and just lose money hand over fist?
No, not at all. We can't afford to do that. We don't have big investors.
You don't have Mickey pockets?
Investors.
You need some Mickey pockets.
We do not have Mickey Mouse's pockets. And right now, honestly, that might be a good thing. We live and die, succeed or fail, strictly on whether or not we are putting out a product that our customers, our target demographic, the people we say this is made for you, it is entirely based on whether or not they are happy with that finished product and they continue to come back and buy more. Whereas right now, Disney for the last several years has been putting out crap, diminishing returns. Yeah, there was that almost decade-long period where they were making a ton of money with the MCU stuff. But as far as the Lucasfilm stuff goes, you just said it perfectly. They would have been better off just leaving it the heck alone. And we know this for a fact because we can look. You can go into Barnes & Noble or any other bookstore that
Yes.
sells Star Wars novels or Star Wars comics. What sells? All of the old stuff. What doesn't? High Republic and the sequel trilogy stuff. You go into the toy aisle of any store that carries Star Wars toys, right? What sells? Anything that is not Disney Star Wars. Sans maybe like Baby Yoda and the Mandalorian. Like they had something there for a little bit, and then everything else that sells, it's all the original trilogy stuff. It's the prequel trilogy stuff. It's Old Republic. It's stuff based on games that do well.
Now, let me point out something with Baby Yoda, because this is the real rub with Baby Yoda. Baby Yoda was a character, and I say was because Baby Yoda is not selling anymore, was a character that had wide market appeal. Men liked The Mandalorian as an action figure, and women and girls really liked Baby Yoda.
Mm-hmm.
And a good comparison point in both movies and streaming and theme parks is the popularity of the Harry Potter franchise.
Yeah.
Star Wars and Kathleen Kennedy wanted that Harry Potter market. They
made a cute little baby Dobby is what they did.
Right. When trying to sell lightsabers in Orlando, they're thinking about trying to sell wands in Orlando. When creating a Star Wars Galaxy's Edge theme park, they're thinking about Hogsmeade and Diagon Alley at the Universal Studios theme parks. When trying to appeal to women, and they're aiming for the wrong demographic of women when I say this, when trying to aim at women, they are trying to get that Harry Potter money. When you look at how much money Harry Potter makes, despite 3 films that haven't really performed that great at the box office,
the merch sells like hotcakes.
Yes, exactly.
It's funny that you use the comparison of Harry Potter to this. It's actually really funny because not only is that speaking my language, but that's just super emblematic of the entire problem that Disney has faced ever since they bought out Lucasfilm, ever since they bought out Marvel, and decided to, instead of just continue to do what was already working, pleasing the fans that were that guaranteed money, the bread and butter of your business model, they decided, oh, well, let's make this thing for this demographic over here that doesn't like it. So what happened was they don't. Look, it's not that there are no female Star Wars fans. There are a ton of them, and there's a ton of them in this very space. However, the female Star Wars fans liked Star Wars. They liked Star Wars as it was. They were happy with it just fine. They could already connect to a ton of characters, whether it was Leia, whether it was Padme. They loved plenty of the male characters, right? They didn't even need Baby Yoda to like Star Wars. They were already here. Instead, they decided, well, we're going to try and appeal to these people over here. Again, these people, this audience that doesn't exist. They don't care about Star Wars. Harry Potter's success that crosses through both male and female, all age brackets, that's because it was built into the franchise from jump. It was organic. People that got into it early grew up with it, and it was completely universal. Star Wars, whether people like to admit it or not, is primarily a male demographic. The females that are here have always been here. They were already here, and they liked it just fine.
I love your comment, Andrew. And the only advice I would give to Harry Potter, to J.K. Rowling, which she's not going to do this, is to not try to make a Harry Potter to appeal to boys. Keep making Harry Potter.
Just make it as it is.
And accepting all of those dollars you keep getting, all that overflow.
She's doing just fine.
Yeah, she is doing just fine.
She's doing okay.
I love that you guys were talking about the diminishing returns of Star Wars. I want to show one more thing to the folks out there watching. And this is headline news right here, folks. If you take a look at the total numbers for Rise of Palpatine, I refuse to call it Rise of Skywalker because it's not. Rise of Palpatine. Jonas, and remember, Valiant says these numbers are actually higher.
Yes.
But the number that you have, and that's based on currency exchange rates, folks, so way in the weeds. $529 million is what you have discovered is the total production budget for this film.
If they paid for it today in USD.
Right. And then we also, by the way, would, that's not including marketing, so we need to add that on there. Let's be extraordinarily generous and say that it's only $100 million in marketing. That is farcical.
No way.
There's
no way
right.
that was less than $100 million in marketing. No way.
Exactly. It's probably in excess of 200 million, just to be honest.
Yeah.
But let's put it at 100 million. We've got 630. So at 630, considering that they need to make twice that back to make a profit, they needed to make over $1.2 billion. How much did Rise of Skywalker actually make, Jonas?
It made $1 billion. They are lucky that they squeaked by with $1 billion on that movie.
But that means that film almost certainly lost at least $200 million. And guess what was not reported? All throughout the press, everybody reported that Solo was the only movie that lost money for Star Wars. That's untrue. And you, Jonas, you and Valiant Renegade, you have both delivered to the fandom, to the audience, to the marketplace, everybody, the investors, the knowledge now that 2 of these 5 films actually lost money. And when you look at this in total, you begin to realize that Star Wars itself, Lucasfilm itself, has cost the Disney company money. We're not talking about earning back the money that they put in the original investment. They are nowhere close to profit.
No, they're digging themselves a deeper ditch.
That's right. And that's that diminishing returns, because which 3 films made money? The first 3. Which films lost money? The last 2. And what has happened? Outside of The Mandalorian, which is going to be the one exception, what has happened with every other thing that Lucasfilm and Star Wars have done? They are losing ground. They are putting Disney farther in the hole. And at this point, you have to say that Kathleen Kennedy is costing Disney at least billions of dollars. Gentlemen, final thoughts on this topic. It is amazing journalism that's been done, but final thoughts.
It's absolutely incredible that we're seeing this happen, because in any other industry, any other company, if you lose your company, millions and tens of millions and hundreds of millions of dollars, if not billions, you're gone. You don't have a job.
Right. But KK won't leave.
How do you still have a job when you are that unsuccessful?
Well,
and not just
perfect.
not unsuccessful, but a detriment to your
Andrew,
company.
You've got Pablo Hidalgo out there mocking the fans on Twitter yesterday, talking about, this is the one where they finally erased the sequel trilogy, because he knows they're never going to erase it.
And his hide should be criffing gone as well.
Well, the sequel trilogy is so unpopular that by the last film, they were losing hundreds of millions of dollars on the end of the Skywalker saga, and we know it now.
I don't understand what that's got to be like, to sit in your office and think that any success that Ahsoka has right now from the original trilogy fans is because they are waiting with bated breath for you to make an indictment against the last 10 years of Star Wars. That has got to be
for that.
That has got to be the biggest cognitive dissonance there, that to know that your success is tied to your failures.
Well, and look at these numbers. They are now public. Finally, someone has made them manifest to the marketplace to now judge and analyze it. Jonas, thank you for your work. And I am looking very forward to the new stuff that's going to be coming from you and Valiant Renegade in regards to how much every single one of these streaming live action shows has cost. Outside of, I believe, The Mandalorian, we can't get that because it's not in the UK. Is that right, Jonas?
Right. That was filmed in Manhattan Beach, California.
But other than that, we are going to have even more information. It is a tremendous job that you are doing. And finally, folks, all of you out there who have wondered, you have to wonder no more. And you have to not make any kind of guesswork any longer. Star Wars has lost money for Disney. Star Wars is losing money. It is
not
a
Solo
negative.
lost money. Star Wars lost money.
Star Wars. Exactly.
Yes.
Andrew, where can people find you on this great, big, beautiful web out there?
Well, you can find me over on WCBS every Tuesday night at 8 p.m. Central. I'm the co-host of the High Council over there. You can also find me over on Twitter, Caffeinated Wolf. I am the creative social media manager and editor over at the Rippaverse. So,
and you are exceeding and excelling in every way in so many different endeavors. Andrew, we wish you tremendous success. Unlike Star Wars, be the anti-Star Wars. Jonas, where can people find you?
You can find me over on That Park Place, not just the website, but the YouTube channel. We recently launched a quick rundown every day of entertainment, streaming, and theme park news. Because oddly enough, we don't cover the theme parks very much over here on the WDW Pro channel.
Well,
we do.
Actually, though, we touched on the theme parks here in this video, but yes, Disney at large has led us away from being able to cover theme parks because they keep doing such stupid things just in general that we have to cover that.
Well, I'm here to challenge your title as the actual Walt Disney World professional.
Well, Jonas, I'll let you have a run for your money and give me a run for my money. We'll see how it goes. But Jonas, I'm so happy with That Park Place and how it has launched on YouTube. You and Vash are doing a great job as the co-anchors, and I will make my first appearance on a regular video tomorrow. So very happy to do that. It's going to be explosive.
Well, thank
All
you.
right, folks.
I do need to attribute a lot of that success to our wonderful contributors, and I'm really excited for you all to see who they are.
That's right. And the amazing people out there who not only subscribe to channels such as this, but also are subscribed now to That Park Place as they realize that we're putting out bite-sized news content that you can enjoy whenever you would like. Well, folks, if you wouldn't mind, drop a like down on this one too. Share, subscribe, and when you click it, you stick it to the algorithms. It's the notification bell. Drop a comment down below. This is, it's a continuation of coverage of everything that we believe will revolutionize the way people see Disney and Star Wars. So, folks, wherever you are and whatever you're doing, keep learning, keep growing, keep having fun.
I just found out how to get WDW Pro's information, where he gets his sources. I can't believe he uses Wilton!
What?
We got a job to do. It's easy to hack into WDW Pro's computer.
You're kidding me. That's awesome. You know any other stuff?
Yeah, just Jonas Campbell told me.
Sweet.
Said Pro underpaid him or something.
A few minutes later.
There. Oh, awesome. Whatever. All I gotta do is
Whoa.
hack into this thing. It's gonna be so easy.
Yeah, this isn't
All
a
right,
hack.
grab this picture over here.
Leave it to me.
Oh, no. Oh, Wilson.
Job done. What?
No, all we had to do was use the picture because he uses face unlock. Now we gotta go to thatparkplace.com and sub to him and his team on YouTube.
Oh, well, I already did that because I'm smart.